Hello and welcome to my Brawlhalla guide. Today I'm going to be covering Core. Core is one of my most played legend, I think second or third, and I've had a lot of success with him. I reached Diamond first with using Core, and I think that he has a lot of tricks that you can learn to that not many people know with combos and strings and stuff. So I'm going to be talking about reads, strings and combos, and just generally what stance you need and how you need to play Core and what his sort of playstyle is. So first of all, Core has Hammer and Gauntlets. Hammer is a heavy-hitting, slower weapon, which has good kill confirms, such as D-Light Stare, which you really need to know at higher percents because they're good options. But what many people don't know on specifically Core is you have Downlight Ensig as a true combo. Downlight Ensig only works if you land the D-Light near. If I land it far, it will have 2 dodge frames if I land it at max range, and I won't be able to hit it. But mostly you're fine when doing it. If I land it at normal range, I can make it a true combo, and if I land it stacked, so can I. This in fact does more damage than D-Light Stare does, and at low percents, D-Light Stare is extremely difficult to get true. You have to be frame perfect, but obviously when you get higher, they get popped up. When they get higher, they get popped up higher as well, so it's easy to do. So it's just a mix up to D-Light Stare, especially if you are like this side of the stage facing inwards, because instead of pushing them to the other side of the stage, which might kill later, you can do Ensig, which kills earlier from center stage than D-Light Stare does. As you can see at 160, I can get an easy kill on this Ulgrim with D-Light Ensig, true combo. D-Light Nair won't kill, and all D-Light Stare. And it means from center stage you have another option. It's also very easy if you're struggling to do D-Light Stare. And this is just a good thing to know. Another thing to know, if you're playing Core a lot more, is the ceiling height of certain places, because you have a couple SIGs, or quite a few SIGs that kill off the top, especially your Ensig, like D-Light Ensig on Shipwreck may kill at 150, but on map like Small Brawlhaven, I bet it will kill a lot later, no, a lot earlier, and maybe Apocalypse, which has a very high ceiling, it will kill later. So learning when it kills is quite important for your matchup. Now I'm going to be covering just a couple strings that you can do on exclusively Core Hammer, and then I'm going to go to Gauntlets after. So, or a couple reads in general. So I'm going to turn off the bot's dodge reaction now, but I'll just tell you what dodges it covers. So if you do sidelight into D-Sig straight away with no weight, it will cover away dodge, in dodge, and spot dodge. So every dodge on even dodges going into ground. So if they try and diagonal down dodge from a sidelight, it will read them all. The only thing it doesn't catch is anything upwards or diagonally upwards, but the most common dodges in this case are from there. And this works till a later percent as well. So you can get stage control and snag kills a lot earlier, but you do need to dodge at later percents. So here I wouldn't need to dodge to catch in or spot, but if they dodged away then I would, and then if I dash then I catch them all. This SIG also has pretty good force, killing center stage at like 130 on Shipwreck, which is very, very good compared to other SIGs. And if you land it on the edge of the stage, which is quite easy because as you can see, the hitbox kind of falls off of the stage. If you land it there, you pretty much have a free kill at extremely early percentages. More cool things you can do is if you feel like they're dodging upwards. So as you can see, if they dodge like up, and I do sidelight dash D-Sig, it won't connect. Even if I dash, it just won't hit. But if you see they're doing that, you can just side sig and it will connect if you're closer to them. And as a mix-up, this is good, as these things are risky, but have a lot more reward, because I could just go for like a D-Light and I'll be safe, or go for like a Sare, but a Sare is also risky, and they're just not as consistent, and not as rewarding. As you can see, he can get back easily from that, but if I do like side sig, he goes a lot further, and it also does more damage, which means, and any damage you can get is useful damage. So they're just some things for Core Hammer that I think you should know in general, and they're important. I'm going to come back to it, but I'm going to go to Gauntlets for now because I feel his Gauntlet SIGs are a lot stronger. First of all, this is important to know, your side SIG has very good force and will kill relatively early, especially for a Gauntlet SIG. Gauntlet struggles to kill a lot, And this sig from like the side of the stage, as you can see, I'll move Olgrim just to the side, will kill extremely early. So obviously I'll be able to kill him here, but on Shipwreck, being able to kill someone at maybe like 130 with a sig, or at least get a good edge guard off it, is extremely powerful. And this makes this sig really good, especially because it's decently fast and has some decent range in front of him. So overall, this is a very strong sig, and you should be using it a lot. The other strong sig is down sig. This sig's hitboxing is actually really weird and just a bit too good in general. So if you look, he smashes the floor and then brings up the rocks, but he has a hitbox even before the rocks are there. So I'll go to start. So he smashes and then he has a hitbox even before the rocks are there, straight away, like really early, and that makes it an extremely strong sig. And each of the little rocks has its own hitboxes, and this overall is a really big sig. And because the hitbox is on the floor, this is a tip that all core mains you'll see use a lot. They'll grav cancel the down sig, so they'll get near the floor and then grav cancel that sig, because as you can see, this will hit because the hitbox is on the floor, like a grounded opponent, and it will also catch up, and you can jump out of it like before you hit the floor, meaning that it's just a ridiculous sig to use all the time. And if you're kind of panicking someone's on top of you, just down sig. And although its damage isn't the best and force isn't the best, it makes up for this by just sheer speed and coverage. It's also 2 dodge frames from D-Light, and although you have 2 combos, this can be useful maybe for a read, or if they don't have their dodge. If you dash into them, if they're dodging, it doesn't work because it has dodge frames, but if they aren't dodging, you can do a dash D-Light at early percents at least. I'm not sure about late percents. So let me turn off his dodge and show you that it's quite quick. Well, it only works at early percents, but still you can get the read with maybe a grav cancel or something, but at early percents you can do it for 1 dodge frame or 2 dodge frames. This is useful, although you have other options. It's just a good mix up you can do, and overall it's a good sig. Now N sig is a very ridiculous sig. There's lots of things you can do with it which probably feel very unfair to your opponent. I'll just set the bot to be on the edge now because this is where the sig kind of shines like a lot. So let me set the bot to jump. And as you can see, the sig grabs from above and spikes straight down. But you don't stop when you're reversing. You keep falling. So if you do it off stage, you just keep falling, and you can get some extremely early kills with this sig. And often the opponent will feel kind of scammed, but rightfully so, because if you can land this sig, then at late percents it's kind of a free kill. And look, if someone tries to jump above you when recovering to stage, you can simply just N-sig them, even at orange, and they kind of just die. The spike angle is so good that you pretty much get a free gimp on them, and you can reverse it and you'll keep falling even further. It's difficult to do when they're on stage, but if the bot gets off stage and you land the sig, like, you can kind of cover the entire ledge with that. And because you don't stop falling, it means that every second you're falling, you go even further down. And as you can see, I kind of dragged him through the stage. So this sig is extremely good. It's also very quick. And off side light, you can do some things with it. And off D light, you can also do some things with it at certain percents. It's extremely difficult, and I don't recommend going for it. But if you're in need of a pinch, if you're in a pinch and you want to get like a win, just go for it. It's difficult, but the payoff is a lot. And overall, it has a very, very, it's just a very strong signature. Being very quick and being able to jump out of that straight away just makes it, it's very safe to use, and it has decent damage as well. If you land it off stage, again, it's just a free kill. So I recommend going for it a lot, because its hitboxing is also very, very good. If you look at it, if if you look at the hitboxes, in the SIG, it goes all the way up and stays there for a second. And it being that quick and having that much aerial coverage means it's hard for someone to approach you from the air when you're playing core on Gauntlets. Especially because Gauntlets doesn't have that aerial coverage move directly above it. This helps on the floor to deal with people who are in the air. So now I'm going to cover a couple of reads. So for spot dodge, if you can launch them off the stage, always try and go for the end sig if you know they're going to neutral dodge, because it will kill so early, and just it'll kill earlier than any of the other moves. Like even if I like recover them or ground pound them, even if I ground pound them, it still won't have the same effect off stage as if I did the end sig. Look, here's the ground pound. That doesn't go near as far. And for all down dodges, if they're in any kill percent, if you know they're going to dodge down, just do grab cancel down zig. This is very strong and very fast and safe, and just works in general. There's other options you have, but none are really as strong as this or as quick. And overall down sig is, I don't want to say spam it, but you can use it a lot very safely. Like if you're in the air and they're below you, just grab cancel it. Just all the time, and it will just kind of land. So side sig, if you know they're going to just do a straight down dodge and not diagonal anyway, and you have them at that side of the stage, you can do a side sig if you fast fall just before grab cancelling it. It's difficult off stage, but it's easier on stage, and you can also just fast fall to the floor and land it. I'll show you with the bot being on stage so he doesn't fall past. So that's down sig, and if you just fall to the floor on side sig, and that will kill quite early and give you good stage control. Core, in my opinion, is a very strong legend. He's let down slightly by his stats, but with a certain stance you can fix that, and I'll show you that at the end of the video and get good stats. But overall, Core's a very strong legend. I'm going to go back to a couple more hammer things that I didn't cover. First, I'm going to cover his side sig's hitbox, because people don't realize that it hits quite far up into the air diagonally, so it can be an anti-air as well. If you look at that hitboxing, it's very, very high above him. So if you slide at someone with this, they can't jump it. This makes it a lot more useful sig, and not being able to jump it is extremely good. Also, D-Light hits grounded, it pops them up. This is extremely important because it's so quick that you can catch people as well, and the fact that it hits grounded is really good. Also, the antic, each of the rocks have a little hitbox. I'm just covering that now, and that is absolutely ridiculous. If you look at that hitboxing, it covers a lot of room, especially because only one of those rocks needs to hit. That's kind of all for Core, and I'm going to cover his stats and what weapon you should use most. So to rack up the damage, you should use Gauntlets to get all the damage in and use your strings. I have 2 Gauntlet guides on my channel, go check them out. And I also have a hammer guide on my channel, but you should kill with hammer. Unless you're forced to do it the other way around, you should always just kill with hammer, because it's consistent kill options, and D-Light Ensig is very, very strong. And I recommend always going with speed stance, or if you're fully gonna commit to like a more tanky character, which has been way more popular in like tournaments recently, I would go attack, because then you have 7 attack, 7 defense, and although you're very slow and don't have much dex isn't that important, but otherwise having the high speed, you'll feel like you actually live longer even with that less defense, because you can, instead of getting gimped and falling off the stage, that higher speed will mean you can just make it back on in time. Anyway, thank you for watching. This was a longer sort of video because I think Core is a more complicated character, but yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Check out some of my other guides, and please subscribe. I'm approaching 1,000 subscribers, and only 5% of my viewers are subbed, so I really appreciate it. Thank you a lot.